I got nothing, Russ.
There, is it working now?
Hey, now we can hear you.
All right. Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show. I am Russ Fritz,
And I'm Nathan Johns,
and we invite you to ride along with us while we're switching
switching
grooves.
grooves. So what's up, Russ? Now we finally get our show back. Super excited for this
Yeah.
week. Some
Yeah.
crazy stuff in the last 2 days, or last 3 days, I guess, when it comes to NASCAR. What do you got in dirt?
Unfortunately, Friday morning, the dirt late model world lost Scott Bloomquist in a plane crash on his property in Tennessee. One of the best. If I had to pick a word to describe Bloomquist, I would have to say legendary.
I got
I,
four. Greatest of all time. I think it's considered GOAT, which is one, but we'll go there.
but I mean, this man, uh, I'm gonna tell you, he dominated late models for so long. I mean, I watched this guy finish a race with three wheels connected to the car.
Ashley and I just watched that the other day. That was one of the highlights I will never forget. I think it was for what, a B main transfer.
Yes,
That
and
was
he
insane.
won the B main with the front left tire dangling off the car.
That was probably that's one highlight that will always stick out in my memory, along with what the scale numbers at Eldora, the beef they had. I think he
Oh
missed
yeah,
was it the World 100 a few years ago because he didn't make the call. All kinds of highlights come to mind when it comes to uh not B Shep. Duh.
Bloomer.
Bloomquist. I can't talk. I can't talk tonight. But all
uh,
kinds of highlights come to mind. I mean, I think he had what, one NASCAR start. He didn't make the field, but obviously it was the inaugural dirt race for the trucks. A lot of people didn't make that field.
NASCAR wouldn't let him race in the Cup Series, from what I understand.
Oh, that'd be funny. That'd be really funny. I didn't hear that story.
I believe he was talking about that on the Dale Jr. download one day.
I
I'd have to go
actually I
back
think
and
I do
find it,
remember
but
hearing that because I
that
think he had him on there. Now that I think about it, that was mentioned. I remember now.
that's insane. Like NASCAR told him, no, sorry, you're not for us, man.
But they had what, Davenport in the truck series. You got umpteen different dirt drivers. That is
I
kind of
know it.
funny. That
It's
is
a,
insane, actually.
it's insane, man.
But
I'm at,
especially all the tributes I've seen online to Bloomquist. That was it, an hour and 40 minutes for the flow racing on YouTube version was that all the
yeah,
highlights, the all the memories shared, all his colleagues, for crying out loud, had some really, really, really touching memories of him, and I think that's what a lot of people are gonna miss is he had that, don't give a crap attitude
oh
about
dude, he
racing, but he had that side in him where he could be so caring for the fans. He almost had that
the
bad boy side with the whole caring side that nobody ever got to see on track.
I when it comes to dirt late models, the guy was a badass dude.
Yeah,
And he didn't care what you thought of him.
I think the
But
very first highlight from there was him saying to the fans something when they booed him or something. I forget what
one
track it was.
there was one fellow, I forget the name of the guy. I was watching a tribute over the weekend about him that actually worked with him and stuff like that. He actually said that Scott was actually a two-sided person. Like at the racetrack, he was a badass, hard ass, don't mess with me kind of guy. But off of the track and outside of the track, he was actually a really great person.
Yeah, and
So,
heck,
and
I there was a video of what, or not a video. There was a photo of him and he was grinding with no eye protection, no foot protection. There was something else. Oh, and
sounds
shorts, no shoes, and no glasses, which I thought was hilarious. That's like the typical. That's almost like the stereotypical picture you think of when you think of Broomquist. Just doesn't give a crap. Just does it. It's almost like the dirt version of the Intimidator almost.
And this guy, he won damn near everything he entered.
Yes.
It's just amazing.
So what else do you have dirt wise this week? I feel like we got off at a little bit of a tangent with Bloomquist.
No, this is one of the stories I was going to talk about. So,
Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't get too far off.
I mean, let's see. 2004 World of Outlaws late model champion. 2009, 2010, 2016 Lucas Oil dirt late model champion. 94, 95, 98, and 2000 Have a Tampa dirt late model series champion. 95, 2002, 2004, 2006, 2008, 13, 17, 18 dirt late model dream winner. I believe that makes 8 dirt late model dreams that he's won.
I'm pretty sure when I added up all the races he did across the Outlaws and Lucas, he's won an eighth of the races he's entered, which is quite impressive. It was like, what, 127 races he's won out of 700 and something?
There's 1988, 1990, 2001, 2014 World 100 winner, and 92, 94, 90, or 96, and 14. He was the blue gray 100 winner. And this man dominated the sport.
And as a local track, I think he's won the Firecracker at least, I know at least once in 2012. I think it was, but I feel like he's won it before also. Just as a local note.
He's also a 2002 National Dirt Late Model Hall of Famer and a 2006 RPM Racing News Driver of the Year.
That's cool.
And this guy, and you're right about the NASCAR truck. One race, and he ran over. It was just 1 year. Uh,
I think he finished
the two,
69th. He
yep,
didn't qualify for the field in the Mud Summer
yeah.
Classic,
It's the 69th to 2013 Mud Summer Classic.
which
Before the MLB had a fit and made Tony Stewart change the name of it, or NASCAR or whoever.
I still laugh that Bloomquist didn't make the field, but somehow Norm Benning made the field on that ridiculous ride the wall pass. That still haunts me to this day thinking about that.
Okay, so here's overall starts: 497 starts, 94 wins, and 65 poles.
That's a lot.
I mean, you find somebody else that is going to do that in late models. The only person that will come close in any type of dirt racing would be Steve Kinzer.
That is pretty impressive.
And this man had an impressive career, and I'll tell you what, there'll never be another like him.
No, that's those stats. I mean, I don't think anybody's even come close to those stats, or at least the ratio to how many awards he's gotten out of how many races. If he hasn't won the pole, he's probably won the race.
Yeah, if he didn't win a pole, it didn't matter. There's
Yeah.
I forget what race it was, but 1 year they literally sent him. He was talking about this himself. I watched this episode. He was talking with Dale Jr. about this. They Something happened early in the race. They sent him to the tail, and he came back and won the damn thing anyway. So
I mean, you couldn't even penalize him and still lose the race. He'd still find a way to win it.
he would still find a way to win the race, man.
I mean, that almost gives you flashbacks of what every Kyle Larson race that we've seen him get penalized early in. Which I hate saying that, but it does, sound very, very familiar.
So, the unfortunately the dirt racing world lost a hero this weekend, and
A lot of local track promoters here. I know what Tyler from PPMS. I feel like I think he was the one who posted had a very, very cool photo of him and Bloomer together in the hauler, which was kind of cool. or I forget, somebody posted that there was just so many touching memories just for local drivers out here. Definitely was an interest, kind of, you know, I don't know if the word is wholesome, but it was definitely a very emotional group of posts. They were very cool to see how touched everybody was, at least in this area, just as a local crowd.
And along with losing Scott Bloomquist in the dirt world, what was it?
The 2008 champion or Daytona 500 champion, crew chief.
We also lost Eloy Gutierrez. I forget how to pronounce his last name, but the man that actually brought electronic timing and scoring to the World of Outlaws series.
Oh, I didn't even know about that one.
Yeah, he was 75 years old, and he's the official person to bring the electronic scoring into the World of Outlaws in the 90s.
That's kind of cool.
And he was quite an innovator. This guy would actually pull around with him a portable scoring tower just in case a track didn't have one.
That's kind of cool.
So that's cool. The guy was.
You learn something new every day because that's something I'd never heard. That's kind of cool.
He was actually quite a person. Real friendly guy too. And I ran into him once over in our area. And man, the guy would sit there and he would talk with you all night if he had the chance, but unfortunately he couldn't. But he would, man. He's a great guy, man.
That's crazy.
The guy just has stories and knowledge, and I tell you what, man. Anybody that got to hear them, consider yourself lucky. I mean, even if you think they're boring, but I mean, I find them fascinating. Just the history. This guy's been around forever in the sport, and I love the history of our sport, so I love listening to those stories. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to hear them from Eloy anymore. But
yeah,
and along with the dirt world losing a couple local heroes, unfortunately, my family lost a hero as well. May my grandfather George B. Hutchins, Master Sergeant, United States Air Force, rest in peace. And I'm just so lucky I got to know him for 40 years. So he will be missed, and the show must go on. So
we got happy news to share.
I know he wouldn't want us to stop what we're doing. So, anyways, the rest of my dirt news out in California. Silva excuse me. Paul Silva has been working hard on Kyle Larson's car, but not only Kyle Larson's car, the 57X machine.
Ooh,
for Jacques Goodyear. It says High Limit started their West Coast tour, and Larson won his sixth race in a row. So that's a little odd, you know.
I think it has something to do with that muffler.
Well, the winning streak started the week he showed up with the turned up exhaust. Now
Suspicious.
This win number 6 came at Tellure on Thursday, and like I said, the winning streak started when he showed up with the turned up exhaust.
I wonder how many teams are going to overnight those mufflers.
Well, that's interesting because other people are trying it now. So,
oh boy.
So here's how the story has gone so far. People think the turned up exhaust helps with the downforce, keeps the tires and suspension cool, and some say it's a distraction, just a distraction, but no one knows because Silva won't say anything to anybody. So
it's a top secret.
It is a hard fact to ignore and just let alone. I mean, everybody's going to talk about it.
The proof is definitely in the pudding.
So Now that Larson's been doing all this winning with it, more people are showing up. Dominic Scelzi, Jacques Goodyear, obviously, since that's a Paul Silva, worked on car or wrenched car.
Yeah.
Rico Abreu, and these guys are getting mixed results. So I mean, just because you have your exhaust up doesn't mean it's gonna do everything for you. It also has to do with driver too. But just to say that, okay, this is just a distraction. It's quite a hell of a coincidence.
I
If
wonder if they're going to show that at Lernerville here in like a little over a month. I was
well,
just thinking about that.
that's but winning 6 races, and he went from not making the show at Eldora, the King's Royal, missing the King's Royal to the next week, or not, I shouldn't say next week, his next race, coming with the turned up exhaust, and started winning, including the Knoxville Nationals with this turned up exhaust.
That's crazy.
And he like dominated the Nationals. So it's just one hell of a coincidence,
He
isn't it?
put a huge gap on the field. I remember that.
The only one that had a chance was Gio Scelzi, and he just didn't have enough for him.
And I think Corey Day was coming through the field, but he ran out of laps about halfway. Had it been a 100-lap race, he probably would have caught him, but not a 50-lapper.
But see, this is nothing new. Guys have done this in the past, but it's spreading across the country, which is amazing to me. Matt
The
Campbell.
angle is kind of interesting, too, because I know the photos from last episode have people trying all different angles, but I think it's the first one I've ever seen that goes kind of inside the Nerf bars.
No, Steve Kinser's was like that too. If we go back and look at those,
Okay. His just seems different from the way Kyle's is, which I thought was kind of interesting.
I think now it might be a rule that it has to be inside. But I don't know. I haven't actually looked up the
The
complete
rule
rules.
book, yeah.
But Matt Campbell, Tyler Rankin, James McFadden are drivers who have tried this before. Sprint Car Hub even did a video discussing this just like a week ago, I believe, or so. Not, I don't know. It wasn't. It was a while ago. It, but yeah, it was on Sprint Car Hub, and I saw that, and they were talking about this. And they were discussing reasons why guys might do it, naming the other things. Now, some people are even saying that it helps create downforce, not because of the pressure coming out of the exhaust pushing downward on the car, but putting that hot air underneath of the wing makes it less dense,
Ooh.
helping
That's a good idea also with the physics
and
wise, yeah.
and helps it disperse the air under the wing a lot faster than the air pushing down on top of the wing. So it's
I
it's
hadn't
crazy,
thought about
man.
that one.
There
That
are
is that is actually a realistic possibility also.
there are a ton of theories, man, and it is amazing how much talking is going on, and Silva's just able to keep his mouth shut, dude. I mean, he hasn't said anything about it. Larson hasn't said anything about it. Nobody. It's just
Huh.
amazing all the speculation that's going on, and it's cool though too. I like seeing all the different ideas that people have, and like, wow, it makes you really think about,
Yeah, it
is
does.
it this, is it that, man? And for a person like me, I'm like a natural overthinker. I overthink everything, so it always keeps my mind going. Like, what in the hell is he doing it for? Is it really this or is it really that? Like,
Yeah.
I just, dude, I just
That's
can't get it, man.
insane.
But oh my gosh, it's cool. But hey, kudos to them, innovating within the rules. There's nothing in the rules against it. So, you know, let's see how long we can keep it going. But other than that, I really didn't do much race watching this weekend. Unfortunately, I spent no, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but I spent the weekend, unfortunately, having to say my final goodbyes to my grandfather, and I did go down to Franklin, Indiana, to flag the Yard Cart Nationals.
I forgot about that. Darn it, I missed that.
But unfortunately, all we got were hot laps and two heats in, and Mother
Oh,
Nature
the rain.
decided, yeah, she decided to win. So we just
Sounds
we
like a
had
lot of races this weekend.
we had already had two rain delays as it was, and
Yeah.
the track just couldn't take any more water. So if it would have just been that rain that we got, we could have ran the track in and kept going. But unfortunately, it did us in the what third or fourth time.
Oh, yeah.
So kind of sucked, but it was fun. What little bit I got to do there. The people were awesome. I mean, a lot of kids there. I gave flags away to a bunch of little kids, and they were all happy. And some asked me to sign them, so I autographed all of them and just gave
Switching
them all
Grooves
away. So
host.
now I usually just put my autograph and then draw a little flag underneath of it.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that works
Like,
too. The flag guy.
well, yeah, because when I was a driver, I would put my number underneath my name. So
That's fair. That's fair. I like that.
it would be my name and then 97. That was my number. So
Russ Fritz, SG.
well, don't get to do that much anymore. So
It's good to
I
go back to your roots and have a little fun with that.
I enjoy keeping the younger crowd entertained. I mean, they're the future of the sport. So if we don't keep them interested, it'll die off.
And that's what I like is you got to have more drivers interact with the young, the next generation. I forget who it was when we were at Fremont. Is that caught my attention? Is
Oh,
how
Brian
many
Smith.
young kids, wanted to come do that to race with one of the racers that was on track. That was kind of cool to me.
Yeah,
It even
even you.
suckered me, and I loved it. I loved that. That was the coolest thing ever. And it
The
gives you
cool
so many ideas too to bring new kids into the sport.
the cool part about it was he told you have to give that Hot Wheel to a
And
kid
I
if
and
you.
I actually enjoyed that. I mean, at that point there was no kids, so you had to go find one. So it
But
was kind of cool.
it's all in good fun, and yeah, that's actually Brian Smith. He sets up the little Hot Wheel uh, downhill drag track
In his trailer of all
in
places, which is
in his
awesome.
trailer every race, and lets kids race him with Hot Wheels. And if they beat him, they get to
They
keep
keep the
both.
car.
They get to keep both. If he wins, they still get to keep theirs, and they can try again. They can go to the end of the line and try again if they want. Brian doesn't care. A really really great guy. I'm
Lots of fun.
glad to see Brian at the track every week, and
Fun of
even
all age for all ages, even the
he
adults.
he doesn't just load up his stuff and ignore everybody and head out. He actually acknowledges fans of all ages. He'll stand there and talk with us adults too. So I think the guy wears his racing suit home. To be honest with you, because
I'm pretty sure he did.
I
It
don't
was
see
kind of
him
funny.
ever. I never see him take it off after the race is over. So
To be fair, I think I did that when I was racing, but I'm pretty sure that, I had a 4 hour drive ahead of me and I didn't really think that was best time usage.
I used to
Usually I
live.
kept the jack, unraveled the top, but that was it.
I used to leave my racing shoes on just because I
Yeah,
had to
it's way
pull.
easier to drive home like that than change
I
shoes.
had to pull the laces out so far on my racing shoes just to get my foot in them
Oh
that
yeah.
I didn't feel like messing with it, and I just worried about it when I got home. But
Yeah, that was those were the times where you had to make tough decisions on what to take off.
I just took the jacket off, threw it in my bag, and threw my helmet and gloves in
See,
the
I had to
bag. And
unravel mine down to my hips and then hope it didn't fall off to my
oh,
ankles.
you had a full
I had
suit.
one of
I
them
just
full ones, which was nice, but you couldn't really move in it if it was on. So I had to unravel it, and then I'd ride home with it hanging halfway off my body.
my racing suit was my karting jacket and a pair of Dickies pants and my driving shoes.
I need to get something along those lines, or at least something that fits better.
That's what happens when you get older.
I know. I found that out very quickly.
So, what do you got going on in NASCAR, man?
Well, I mean, same results as your backyard kart race. Obviously, we had a lot of rain in Michigan this week. Also, had a lot of hang time, which is very unusual for NASCAR nowadays.
Yeah.
Obviously, Friday night, or not Friday night, Saturday, they had the Xfinity race. Last lap crash had Kyle Sieg sailing through the air, uh, ended up on his roof and slid the majority of the way down the backstretch till he hit the grass and rolled over. Thankfully, landed on his wheels. But funny enough, the very next day, there's a contact between Noah Gregson in the 10 and Corey LaJoy, and we see Corey LaJoy land on his lid for the second time this year, which is a little more than I think any of us want to see.
I think the
But
first time he was tipped over, but he got tipped back up.
yeah,
That
he
was what
rode on the window for the longest time at
Oh yeah,
Talladega, I think it
Talladega.
was.
Yeah.
But Corey, I mean, the onboard camera from Corey is quite terrifying because you see you're looking straight ahead, and then all of a sudden you just see the sky, and I was like, "What the heck?" And then you hear it crunch, and all you see is the pavement grinding, and then the camera cuts out. He managed to essentially, I almost want to say it's like the Matt Kenseth, or he landed on his roof, hit the fence, and then slid down the fence. It's actually more of the Ryan Newman, which makes it even more terrifying. But yeah, in my own opinion, I really feel like these cars should not be taking off as easy as they are. I know last year, I think it was with Chase Briscoe, when the car picked up off the ground. That was a huge scare to see that car pick up the way it did, but it did set back down. With the way Corey's car picked up, it picked up, but it picked up so fast that it didn't even have a chance to set itself back down or the roof flaps deploy at all. So it was definitely a
I saw
very,
that.
very, very sudden lift of the car. I wish they would find a way to not make it hold so much air because it looks like an airplane. The moment you get air underneath there, it's like a wedge and just picks it right up.
Well, the bottom of the car is all friggin' flat,
That's one thing they need to do is they
like
need
a
to make it so
Matchbox
it's
car,
not
like a.
so smooth.
It literally reminded me of the bottom of my Hot Wheel cars when I was a kid.
Yes.
I mean, that belly pan on the car just needs to go. That'll help big time
Part of this
with
something needs to be edited with the splitter, not make it so much,
get rid of
aero.
it.
Yes, that. We'll go with that. Just delete it. The belly pan itself, I don't like to start with. It makes the car entirely too smooth on the bottom. And at that point, you're just asking for the air to get sucked right underneath it.
If
There's
they want,
nothing keeping it on the ground at that point.
more competitive racing instead of this aero blocking crap that we're getting every week, especially at the bigger tracks where aero is everything. First, get rid of the stupid splitter, get rid of the diffuser, and get rid of the belly pan.
Yes. The diffuser itself, I think, is an absolute waste of materials. I really don't think it has any place. But,
I don't
you
think
know,
it does much good on an oval track, to be honest with you.
to be really
But
honest, I
I
was
could
kind of
be wrong. I
surprised
don't
the
know.
runs that people got. I mean, I saw two different occasions where the front two cars were side by side, and the third place guy blew by him like they were standing still. Got such a run that you'd be going into turn one, and third place would get alongside you at the start finish line, and have you cleared and gone by the time you got to turn one. That was what Bubba did it, and Kyle did it on two different occasions to the leaders. I think it was what Tyler Reddick and Denny Hamlin with Kyle Larson, and then Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin got blown by Bubba going into turn one, which is not good for any non-Bubba fans. But that was probably the
Right.
craziest things I've seen is the runs that people were getting with these. Is we think of Michigan as like a draft track, almost like Atlanta, Talladega, and Daytona, but those runs were insanely fast. Like it almost looks like you threw the anchor out and you just stopped, and the other guys went blowing by you. It was the aero
Yeah.
package. I like how fast they're moving. I don't like how fragile these cars are in air. I mean, Denny spun off turn four all by himself, just absolutely lost it. Now, granted, I don't think Denny's a champion, but I definitely don't think he's a rookie and is just going to spin the car out from lack of control. I mean, that simply does not make sense to me how somebody who is so good in the sport, practically a veteran, just loses it. I mean, out of nowhere. Like, these cars are so aero dependent
And
that once you get even the slightest bit of damage, your race is over.
that's what looks like what happened in LaJoy's case. Now, I didn't see the Xfinity crash yet, but
There
if
was
what
a
happened,
crash in front of, I think it was Quapple got turned and people went to avoid, and Ryan Sieg was in front of somebody, but as he flipped, it picked up and landed on top of the other guy and hit the wall. Like it just simply picked up. Both look identical, sliding down the backstretch. Once they hit the grass, they rolled over onto all fours. But they stayed on their roof the entire length of the backstretch, basically till they hit the inside wall, and then ricocheted back out into the grass where it finally flipped back over.
yeah, and it seemed like that's the aero issues is what flipped
And it's
LaJoy in the
very
first
rare to
place.
have two of them in the same weekend.
But
And
you
they looked identical almost, and that's what scared me the most.
but you had LaJoy try to pull out from behind Noah Gragson, and it looked like
And it sucked them back in.
the air just kind of sucked him back towards Noah's car, and he barely touched the quarter panel, if he touched it at all. I mean, there was nothing dirty done. Noah Gragson didn't even move, so I'm
There
not
was
quite sure if
contact
they.
the lap prior, but it looked nothing like it was
But
the
for
following
this,
lap that caused Corey to flip over.
yeah, I mean, the flip itself, that accident wasn't caused by any contact,
Yeah.
and intentional contact, anyways, if any at all. So, I mean, you can't call that dirty or nothing like that. But
But isn't it awfully convenient that we have Michael Jordan at the track for the second time, and the second time Tyler Reddick wins the race? I mean, a lot of chase contenders had a lot of issues today. Funny enough, the one non-chase contender actually finished semi decent, or
uh, the other thing that's
was a
amazing,
chase contender.
the other thing that's amazing is all of a sudden the RCR cars are super fast now.
Yeah,
The
funny
last
how that
the
works.
last 2 weeks, what's going on with that?
I mean, I think
Kyle
Dylan
Busch actually had
finished
a good race
19th.
today.
I think Dylan finished 19th, I think it said, which was
Busch
better than the other guys he was racing the week prior.
Busch got his first stage win this year.
Well, that's a
I mean,
shocker.
it's one of the best races he's had in a year.
Wasn't that kind of funny how last week they bowled through the field, and now this week they can actually race somewhat decent? It's like the light switch. They had to knock the competitors out of the way to actually start something.
I'm still curious to see how this appeal is going to go on Wednesday for RCR's
I,
crap
I
last week.
would I would not be surprised if they do not overturn it or they make it even worse than what it was prior. Like if we thought
The,
the penalty was bad prior, I feel like it's going to get way worse when they appeal this.
the only way I see them giving his playoff eligibility back would be a huge monetary fine. And
I'd love to see them just suspend them instead of the monetary fine. You're
or
not getting
that.
paid for 2 weeks.
I was getting to that. I was going to say that too, but that I was going to say that the first one is that, or they suspend him for a race,
And NASCAR
and
still
then
has to give him a waiver if they suspend him. So it could very likely end his chances of even making the playoffs either way. Is you weren't going to make the playoffs. We'll give you your eligibility, but you're not getting a waiver when we suspend you. So either way, you're not making it.
well, and I'm sure that RCR would bring that up in any appeal that they have. Is okay now NASCAR still has to give us a waiver. So what are you going to do there?
So don't make a mockery of our sport, and you'll get a
I
waiver.
mean, it's. But
I
I
mean,
mean
you put yourself in a bad spot. What did you expect?
that was just a bullshit move. Like
Yes.
2 weeks ago, man. I
There's
mean,
nothing good to there's nothing good to say about it anymore. I will say that we never heard back if Dylan got his ribs beat up by Denny at that basketball game. I never heard about that one. There
no,
was no follow up, so we'll have to wait
I
and see.
haven't heard anything about the basketball game if he
There
even
was
showed
there was
up.
supposed to be a basketball game
Yeah,
right after the event, and we have heard no updates. So we'll wait to see if Austin has any bruised ribs after this week, because I never heard the post race. But and also in exciting news, as you heard it first on Switching Grooves, NASCAR is going back to Bowman Gray,
yeah,
as it was first announced here for months before they actually announced it.
absolutely.
I'm,
That's
I'm
going to be
taking credit
exciting.
for that. I want credit for NASCAR going back to Bowman Gray. You heard it here first.
That's going to be exciting.
I'm super excited. I've already put my deposit down. I want them darn tickets. I want some tickets for that. Even
That'll
if we aren't able to buy tickets, some team hook us up. We will
that
happily do a broadcast for you with you guys.
that will be fun. And
I can't wait for that. That's gonna be that. I feel like that'll be way better than anything LA could have given us. And what
oh,
will make it even
absolutely.
better is if they don't put anything in the infield. Just even put
Let it
a
happen.
concrete barrier from one end to the other end, and that's it. Put it just far enough that you can't cut. You can't cut straight through the infield to take somebody out.
Yeah,
Just
put
leave the
some.
grass there. Put the center median from the middle of turn 3 and 4 all the way down. Apex of turn 3 and 4. Put a concrete barrier just so nobody can cut the center. That would
Yeah.
make that race that. I mean, that way at least it makes it somewhat NASCAR efficient. But you still get that absolute madhouse look of Bowman Gray where people can just throw each other to the infield. And I love the chaos of Bowman Gray. NASCAR has finally made some good choices with their series. They
Well, and it
actually penalized Austin Dillon, and they're actually going back to Bowman Gray. Is this going to be a pattern for the rest of the season? I sure hope so.
but if you actually think about it though, Bowman Gray still fits the narrative that NASCAR wants for the Clash. It's a flat track, it's very short,
And all kinds of
and it's
chaos.
and it's narrow.
And the Clash is always known for tearing up cars. What better way to do it? I think this is going to be the absolute greatest Rock'em Sock'em Robots Clash we'll get ever.
Absolutely.
Like this could literally put NASCAR's Clash back on the map. Forget about bringing the other the Mexican series in, although those ones were pretty good. But go back to the old school short track Saturday night style, beating, banging, gouging, the whole 9 yards. This is like the All Star Race 2.0. Like this is gonna get instead of putting a boxing ring, send them to Bowman Gray, and then we'll get the boxing ring for next year. I'm
Yeah.
super stoked for this.
I'm excited to see it, whether I get the chance to go there with you or I get to have to
I don't
watch it
even
at
know.
TV.
I don't
But
even know when tickets go on sale. I just the moment I heard, I'm trying to get tickets. I want to go so bad just because that will be the absolute coolest thing ever. And for anybody who's ever seen Bowman Gray or who's never been to Bowman Gray, that is one of the coolest tracks you'll see when it's not fully functioning. Like if you go on a normal weekday and there's nobody there, you can drive the entire way around the stadium, just like a normal football stadium, but you could see into it to an extent from I believe it's the turn 3 and 4 end. But you could literally look from the hill and see onto the field below, and you could see where the track would be. I feel like that'll be the cool. That'll probably be the most packed that parking lot will ever be
oh,
because you got
absolutely.
the normal average regional series. Now imagine if they're going to bring the regional series along with the Cup series. You're just about to have one of the biggest parties you'll ever have in that pit area, and I think it'll be absolutely insane. And from what I understand, the pit area is usually across the road, so they're essentially going to have to stop traffic for the cars to come across. That'll be the coolest thing ever for any fans that just want to stand along the road and watch the cars come across for practice or heat races. That'll be insane. Like if you
Yeah,
guys can't
absolutely.
tell, I am amped for February. I almost could care less what happens this season. I want to see this clash. Can we just fast forward through the playoffs and get to it? Like I'm super excited about this. I mean, you got all the silly season news. Now we got Bowman Gray to start the season. Could NASCAR's 2025 season be the greatest season yet? Could we be back on the map for having good racing? Once we get rid of the next gen car, maybe. But we'll get to that when we get there. But I mean, in other NASCAR news, I don't have a whole lot else. I just I'm just super, super excited about this. But I don't
No,
think I
and
really
that's
have any other news other than Bowman Gray and the chaos of flying cars. I'm actually done for once really early.
and
I'm
that's
liking
fine.
this. I'd say we'll cut it off early tonight. We'll save more for next week.
Yeah, I mean, if we hear any major breaking news, we can always come back on later in the week. So,
Sure can.
all right, man. Well, I say let's call it a show for tonight, and you know,
We'll
look forward
have
to
some more
seeing
for next
everybody
week.
again.
All right. Well, we're switching grooves. I'm Nathan Johns.
And I'm Russ Fritz saying, race hard, stay safe, and we'll see you there. Good night.
Bye, guys.